How's it, everyone? Jacques here again with a honing video. You all know I love the diamond range razors. Here's another one. This one purple. We're going to hone this one up. Now, during the past year, I've had honing videos showing you how to set a bevel on a diamond plate, on a synthetic stone, a King 1.2K. I've shown you guys how I've used cortical. I've done numerous J-nut progressions in various shapes and forms, with and without Zano Naguras. And so I want to do something slightly different. This beautiful purple razor, let's first maybe quickly have a look at that. This razor had some significant rust, especially on the spine, and I mean a lot. I'll show you guys now, but first let's just quickly have a look at the edge. Just getting this to focus. There we go. There we go. So right at the heel, you'll see there isn't any bevel, and then slowly the bevel becomes larger. The big thing with these things is getting the light right on the edge. Let's try again. Focus. There we go. Little, and it gets bigger and slightly bigger towards the toe. So in here, small little chips which will need to be removed, but you'll see a much larger bevel at the toe end of the edge. So we are going to set the bevel on this. Quickly, the rust marks. Let's go on the spine. Just get an area where I can focus. Here we go. So you'll see these deep pit marks right on the spine. I'll show you now where this is. This is at the above the heel, and you'll see continued marks here, especially on the inside of the spine, on the front of the razor. So this had significant rust on. Moreover, you'll see deep rust in here, and also on the spine, deep pitting. So in order to clean all this out, there's obviously going to be some consequences, but we'll sort them out. So here's the razor. It is a purple one, 8000. So we are going to use something purple to set the edge on. So corticals come with a backing with a Belgium Blue Whetstone. They're actually quite nice. People don't use them, I don't know, and it's a nice chunky piece too. So we're going to set the bevel on this, and then we're going to see what that scratch pattern looks like. And then I've got another cortical here, and this one I'm just going to use more as a slurry stone. And you'll see the stone has got beautiful purple. There's obviously, I'm not a color guy, but there's a wide spectrum. Maybe some people have got a closer definition of the color. It's not burgundy, I don't know. Rooi wine. In any case, here we go. It's actually quite a beautiful stone when they're wet, like all stones, and if they're nicely polished. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one. You'll see that's the wet side, here's the dry side. This is from vein 10. In any case, let's create slurry. So the idea with slurry is it adds abrasive particle into the mix, and so it increases the stone's cutting efficiency and ability. So we're going to create quite a bit of mud, slurry. And that was supposed to be water, but it's not going to make a difference. And here we're going to start working the heel section where the bevel is less refined, a whole lot more than the rest. So we first want to establish the bevel here, and then we will walk up the blade and start correcting those chips, and you'll immediately see some black swarf forming in this cutting abrasive. Like most natural stones, especially this Belgium Blue, they provide good feedback. The garnets are slightly larger, but once again, as you would know by now, it's not the size of the particle, but rather the shape and how you use it to cut steel. I'm using quite a lot of edge biased pressure, and that is to use pressure as a additional parameter in the honing sequence. Let's do this. Use both hand choke. How cool is that? A purple slurry and the purple razor. So as with most things, honing, stop on a regular basis and start inspecting to ensure that what you see and want to achieve on the stone is actually happening. A Belgian Blue is generally graded, if you had to compare it to a synthetic grit size, these are around the, I would say the 4000 4K mark. But you would see it cuts actually quite quick and fast, even for 4K. So if you make the slurry nice and thick, and I would actually call this medium slurry, you will actually drop down in that abrasive size from a 4K more to a 2K, and that's more from a, not a particle size, but more from to give you an idea how the performance of the stone changes. Its range changes depending on how you use the slurry. And unlike JNAT slurry that break down, these garnets actually does not. They fundamentally are very hard, very abrasive, and they just keep cutting. I'm quite sure they will break down and become smaller over time, but it can't be a lot. So from a light pink with all the swarf in, it's really turned to a dark purple. So I'm going to give the stone a rinse, and we're going to clean the razor. And this little bit of work we've done, I want to now go and quickly inspect. So we'll put the loop on again quickly, and then see if we've made any progress. Okay, here we go. So right at the heel, you can already see the bevel being formed quite nicely, nice and clean. Still small little chips in, and then the more defined bevel sides also starting to look a whole lot better. Still small little chips, that's more dirt than anything else, but the bevel's definitely starting to looking a whole lot better. Okay, so we're just gonna continue doing this. I don't think it's going to take dramatically long. Then we're going to start reducing the slurry and working with a whole lot less pressure. And then we want to see how polished we can get this edge, and then see if it will do a little tree top after stropping. And I might finish this just under water or some soap maybe. And then go and take it for a shave. I have shaved off these edges. Quite nice. Not the sharpest, but then again, I've never done it on a Japanese razor. And also, like all things in life, one skill level moves slightly on, so let's see if I can improve on that. This is not something they would recommend, a Belgium Blue as a finishing stone. But once again, I think they are underrated. And that's what we're doing here. So irrespective, even if it's not a great finishing stone, it's definitely something that can do a lot of your mid-range work and even bevel setting. It's not a 1K diamond stone or a 3K diamond stone that has got this massive cutting capability in the stone, but it's definitely a usable stone. If you're into cuticles, people focus so much on the cuticle side that they neglect to even use this. I think in one of my previous videos I have shown that my knife and traveling setup, sharpening setup, when on the road and sharpening kitchen knives and so forth for customers, consists of a DMT 325 diamond blade and a Belgium Blue Whetstone. That's it. And I use that to the diamond plate obviously to do the heavy lifting and the bevel set, and then I just refine on the natural stone, and that's a very quick, easy, foolproof process for me. I really like that. So I've shown you guys the impact marks or the pits, rust pits remaining on the spine. Those will never polish away, so it will provide a different feel and feedback on the edge. on the stone when you hone, so just keep that in mind. At this point in time, I'm really not that worried too much about the feedback. I just want to make sure we get a clean, nice, even bevel set. I've got a bucket of water here next to me. I seldom sit at a bench and work. I stand at my honing station and do most of these things underwater, continuous running water mostly. So some of you have mentioned, yes, that there's still slurry and stuff, residue in my gloves, and does it not impact edge quality and so forth? And to be honest, no, it doesn't. But still, I want to just demonstrate that you don't need a lot of water. So I've just got this little bucket here with water in to do the bulk of the main rinsing. Right, moving on. I'm going to slightly reduce the slurry. And I'm going to take a chance here and go by feel, and then we'll have a look under the microscope and see if I can match what I feel versus the scope. So we're just going to continue setting the bevel. At this point in time, I think I'm also going to maybe, before we do that, let's just see how this cuts. What we'll also have to do is, these stones, the abrasive particles actually come quite loose quite quickly, as you've seen. So I can tell you this stone is not true the way I like it, especially for finishing. So once I think we've got a nice bevel set, we're going to check that under the scope, and then I'm going to just quickly take a diamond plate and we're just going to lap this flat and fine, and then we're going to do the finishing steps. And I think I'm there. It feels and I can hear that the edge is cutting on the stone, and that it's not doing rough, uneven surfaces. So I think we are there. So let's take a chance and see what this looks like. Briefly with the eye, it doesn't look bad, but zoom this in and let's see if I can get this right. You see the difficulty, I haven't got a light source, so for me you'll see the bevel is quite set, not slurry, but essentially you'll see the bevel is nice and clean. There are little particles right at the edge. There's a small little chip. Some of these things there's another little chip. Slurry on right on the edge, and the way it reflects light can let you to believe there's a chip, especially on something that is not quite as high quality as low quality as this. I think we're going to work it just slightly more. Very close. I just maybe want to use slurry from the base stone only, so I'm going to use a diamond Nagura, just a little diamond lapping plate. So what I'm doing is I'm creating slurry from just the base stone. Previously I was creating slurry from both stones, and this stone for me has got a bit more homogeneous and a consistent structure than the other one. So the different particles in the other stone, or potential, I just want to, is nice for setting a bevel, but when we want to start refining and moving on, I'm looking for something a bit more consistent. I think that's the easiest way of putting it. Okay. So I do not use a burr method for honing a razor, and in fact I don't even use that method when I hone knives. It's just a preference thing. It doesn't make a right or wrong or better or worse than something else. With these stones, especially if you've got a thick slurry, it will keep knocking off those little bits and pieces at the front. So if you want to now go and do a sharpness test by hanging hair or something like that, this is the wrong time to do it. Because this slurry is too thick, it will keep taking off that very fine keenness right at the apex. But I'm not worried about that, because we are now just refining the bevel. So when we start looking at the keenness is when the bevels, once the bevel set, and then we use a thinner slurry. And once again, I don't want to rush this video, so it's done when it's done. So this is what the bevel looks like now. I think it's nice, even and uniform. maybe slightly uneven here on the back side, but I think we're going to fix that when we start polishing. What I now have to do is quickly lap the stone. So hang on 1 second. So here we go, a very worn out DMT diamond plate. We're just going to wet the stone. And once again, I would normally be doing this under clean water. And this is a very, very, very worn DMT, so it will also leave a very nice finish. And in fact, that's, I think, pretty much enough. I just want to go and clean this up. Right, so the stone is nice and flat and smooth. And so now what we're going to do is start polishing. I can't remember, and they will also differ, so I'll have to see. Some of these stones will auto slurry. As I say, these abrasive particles actually come loose quite easily. And once there's one or two loose, then obviously as you work that with the steel, you know, it just loosens another and another. So it will slowly, or it should slowly build a slurry. And then as they also come loose, it prevents the stone from burnishing, glazing up, whatever you want to call it. And I've gone back to about 400 grams of pressure like I was working at the beginning, and that's just to get the stone to cut. And then once we've got a little bit of slurry forming, I'll back off. And the reason for that is, you know, there's very little abrasive particles. I'm just over the stone, and as I work it, it will loosen some. And I'm not sure if you can see what this looks like. So a good mix of swarf and a good mix of abrasive particles. So what I'm going to do now is, because it's starting to feel quite good, I'm going to drop the pressure down to about 200 grams, and now I'm more focused about how this edge is cutting the water. Is it undercutting? Is it doing it consistently, evenly across the entire bevel on both sides? And if not, then I need to work the area a bit more. And exactly the back side I was referring to here is not cutting exactly like the rest. So we're just going to work that slightly more than the rest. And once I've got that cutting the same way as the rest of the edge, then I'm going to back off significantly on the pressure. These are really very versatile stones. As I say, they will do a fantastic polish on your Japanese knives. Give it that brilliant Kashumi finish you're looking for. It does laser sharp edges. They're easy to use. And as I say, people generally buy cuticles just for the cuticle side. I've got a real a love affair for both of them, because with one single stone you've got actually a huge range in which you can do work on. Yes, agreed, the Belgium Blue is not particularly quick, but when you hone razors, you don't want something that cuts particularly quick. One of the things I've observed with people that hone on synthetics is they'll say, I get a laser sharp edge, and then after a couple of shaves, then the sharpness falls away, and then I need to go back to the stones. Stones that cut very, very aggressively, like synthetics and specifically diamonds, just because they cut that quick, you will create a burr, even if it's a micro burr, which you're not going to see with the eye. And so you'll just keep stepping up through the progressions, and that edge foil will just become thinner and thinner and thinner. And then either when you shave, it folds away and it loses its keenness, or that edge foil eventually in places break off. And then you go back to the very aggressive stones, and then I've got the potential of, you know, repeating that again. You seldom get that with natural stones, unless you stick on one side of the blade for a very, 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 very long time and deliberately want to create a burr. So enough about that. Let me see if I can clean and dry up this edge. I've spoken a lot and a bunch of hoo-ha about how good everything is. So let's put the scope on and see what it looks like. Once again, I want to thank everybody that's been following, supporting the channel, just, you know, looking at the videos, finding it useful. Really appreciate that. And then also the new subscribers and people that's finding the content useful. Okay, so I think this looks good. The light on here is not great, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give this a palm strop, and then I'm going to take the camera off in hand and then see if I can just position the light better to get a real view of what that edge looks like, because that's very sketchy at best, the image quality. I think what I'm going to do is I also just want to switch to something dry. So there might be a little bit of skin particles on the edge. Okay, so what we're going to do is put this back on, zoom in, take the camera off, and then I want to see if I can find a good light source. Okay guys, so not the greatest image quality. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. If I can find, sorry, I hit the stop button when doing that. So that's clipped in. There's the razor. I've shown you guys how you can use a Belgium Blue. By the way, I quickly want to see if this will treat up. Let's just quickly see if we've given that old strap. So let's see if this will take hairs, which it does effortlessly. You can just see them fly off, or at least I can. I'll try and catch some of them. So nice and sharp. Best case scenario, half decent shave. Worst case scenario, nice clean bevel set that maybe requires a little bit more refinement. In any case, here's the razor, H.Diamond. Those rust marks you can still see on the spine. These things you can grind out if you want to. Me, when restoring razors specifically that has got a lot of wear on them, I try and keep it. It's part of the razor story and its character. I will see if I can find some better video of this edge after stropping this, and then insert it in here if there was any correction done. I really appreciate everybody's time. I hope you found this useful, or at least enjoy this gorgeous razor. Cheers.